Philippians 3. That's where we were last week. Just going to kind of continue on a little bit. We went through, where did we go through last? We were in Philippians 3, last week. Somewhere. Maybe we're backing up. We were farther down.
3:13.
Yeah, we're in 3:13. We're going to start in Philippians 3, this 3:3 this time. I was in the same area.
My notes from last week.
Let's see. Verse 3. It says, "For we are the circumcision, which worship God in the Spirit, and rejoice in Christ Jesus, and have no confidence in the flesh." Stop there. We're the circumcision. We're separated. That's those that are separated. But the big point here is we have no confidence in the flesh. How many have trouble with that? Having no confidence in the flesh. That's tough. That's a tall order, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because what are we used to? We're used to us, but we're used to what we've done in life is we've built up to a certain thing. We've gotten strong in certain areas so we can rely on those areas. We strengthen ourselves in certain ways that we can rely on those ways. And for a very long time, I don't do it as much anymore. Still, sometimes when she jumps out at me, I'll do it. But if someone lunges at me or comes at me, my hands go up to protect myself because I've learned for most of my life that I needed to protect myself, and then I learned how. And so it became second nature, automatically to protect myself, and if this happens, do this. And talking to a preacher friend, I think I told you guys the story, and talking to a preacher friend, and he was counseling, and someone pulled a gun. The husband went out to save, got a gun, pulled it out to give it to the wife, for the wife to shoot the husband. And, his wife got the wife out of the way. He and the husband went out, were going at the gun. Well, instinctively, my mind went to 4 ways to disarm the man. If I had to break an arm or break a shoulder or, do something, he was going to be disarmed. Automatically, my flesh kicked in to, this is how you do this. And Roanne and I were playing yesterday, and I said, make your gun. I want to show her. So she pulled her gun, and she pulled her other gun. She has 2 guns. So I showed her, this is how you disarm with the gun. First off, get out of the way. See, we don't have the barrel. Barrel shoots straight. You don't want to be in line with the hole. Get out of the way of the hole. And I said, it's just some common sense things. But you see, our flesh takes over. Anymore, I try real hard not to, when someone lunges or comes at me, not to come back and to strike at the face or something like that. Years ago, when I ran a detail shop. There was a big guy that that worked for me, and we were just kind of playing, and he was a church guy and I was a church guy, and we were just kind of play martial arting on the cement. And he did the same leg sweep 3 times, put me on the ground 3 times, and my flesh kicked into gear. I came up off the ground and literally lunged. Went at him, was at his head. And I wasn't mad, it was just, you got over on me, here we go, it's on. And I went at his head, and he was, he was your height, Matt, Sam, up in there, big black man. And nice as could be. But I went at him like that, literally, my hands this way, at his face, blocked everything, was around behind him, had him down on the ground before he knew what happened. My flesh had kicked in. My confidence in the flesh had come up. What do we have confidence in the flesh? What is it in our lives that we have confidence in? This says have no confidence in the flesh. That just stinks. Because we've conditioned ourselves all our lives to be a certain way. And And does that mean I forget any martial arts that I've learned and forget if someone attacks me what to do and how to protect my wife and do all? No, I still know how. I just don't rely on it. I still know how to do certain things. I still know how to get an attitude if I want one. But I've learned to rely in our marriage. I could have my parents' marriage. We could have your parents' marriage. We don't want to. I mean, I could scream and holler and throw things and slam things and bang and, stomp my feet and jump up and down and break stuff. It used to work for me when I was little. I guess. I watched my parents do it. Or I can do what I've learned. See, as a husband, I've learned how did Jesus treat the church. People used to ask me, how do you know how to do marriage counseling? I said, I know how Jesus treats me. He's a great husband. I'm a good bride. I know how I like to be treated. I know how He treats me. He treats me lovingly. He's never harsh with me. He's never stern with me. He always loves me. He's always gentle, always kind, always patient, always teaching, always trying to help, always showing me the right way, always pushing me on to do better, to be more, to do better, and He always does it in love. That's a great husband. How do I want to be? He's my example. That's how I treat my wife. Is that how I treat you?
Yeah.
Okay. I better check before I throw it out there. But that's how, sometimes I help too much.
Yep.
And she has to tell me, back off a little bit. Sometimes she says, you're acting like your mother. I'm right on top of her, with claws out. It's not claws out so much, it's more of a mosquito. I'm acting like a mosquito or a gnat.
Pressure.
Huh?
Pressure.
Yeah, with pressure. I can get to be like a gnat if I pick up her spirit. You ever had anybody gnat you? On you, just buzzing you, bzz, bzz, and you swat at them and they're not there. You get away from me and they're not, you just can't get out the way. You just can't hit them because the gnats, you can hear them and you know they're there and they're bugging you, but you just can't get to them. Why? They're that fast or they're moving. And she says, I'm a gnat sometimes, so I have to back off and say, okay, I'm relying on the flesh. Let's go back to the Spirit. Because what's it say? We worship God in the Spirit. Rejoice in Jesus Christ. We're of the circumcision. We're separated. Different lives now. We're separated from the old life. We have a new way to go, a new example. And let me finish what I was saying. I know how He is as a good husband. I know what a good wife is. A good wife is obedient. What's He want from me? He wants obedience, He wants love, He wants patience, He wants long-suffering, He wants gentleness, He wants meekness, He wants humility. That's what He wants from me. Are we that as the bride of Christ? That's what I want from my wife. Don't get up in my face. And she knows, don't get up in my face if she wants something. Right here, with a bad attitude, is not the way to get me to move. The kids always knew, and she learned very early on. You put pressure on me, I sit down. And still to this day, she doesn't do it anymore. She doesn't put pressure. But someone puts pressure on me, I sit down. Conversation's over. Everything's over. We have nothing to talk about. You want to come back with a good attitude and change how you're coming at me? Fine, we'll talk. But what does God do when you put pressure on Him? You've got to do this now. What happens?
Nada.
Usually nothing. Because you come at Him in the flesh. Have no confidence in the flesh. We have to look at how we treat other people. We have to look at how we treat God. We have to look at how we walk through life. Is it confidence in the flesh or is it a confidence in the Spirit that God can change my situation? He can change my life. He can change the people around me. I like to think that after 27 years of being a Christian, maybe I'm getting some confidence in the Spirit. Maybe. Hopefully I'm getting there. That the flesh doesn't rule and reign so much anymore. So I don't get my feelings hurt anymore. I don't get bent out of shape. There's things I don't like that people do, but oh well. Life happens. That stuff that just goes on. And my confidence isn't my ability to get right up and gnat you to death. Aggravate you and gnat you and use my temper and use my fear and use my capacity, my ability to just overpower you to get you to do what I want. That's flesh. What does this say? Have no confidence in the flesh. No, and our confidence is what you're going to see later.